Hey, what's going on, guys? Jeff Coffee here. Hope you all doing good. Hope you all doing great. I'm doing good myself. And today we are going to be talking about basically, well, actually, we're not going to be talking about anything. We're going to be making our first ever Marvel Rivals tier list. Now, personally, I've never made one. This is a season 0 tier list, so things are expected to change maybe in season 1 or so. And this is just basically a tier list because I just thought it would be fun. To be honest with you, I never made one before. I never done anything like this before, so it's a little different to me. This is a little newer. But yeah. But if you guys enjoy this type of content, make sure you subscribe if you're new, and that's about it. I'm not gonna say like, but whatever. Anyways, so first things first. The one thing I want to say though is like, first of all, every character is playable in this game. I'm being not even gonna lie. So now what I tier list whatever character, it doesn't really matter because every character is playable. Like there's literally not a single character I haven't seen been used in ranked, whether it be ranked, casuals, or just even plain simple goofy fun. Like you can use every character in this game. I'm not gonna lie. Some characters are more valuable than others for sure, but like every character is playable. Every character has their own weakness. Every character has their own stuff. So honestly, it's just my personal opinions and my personal take on this. It's not really meant to shit on anybody who plays certain characters or plays certain heroes. Every character is playable, in my opinion. It's just other characters have like a reason why they're bad and a reason why they're good. And this is coming from a GM player. I'm gonna post out my rank and then all the time hours and all that stuff. And yeah, so let's just go ahead and get into this. I don't know, do this crap. Anyways, so first up on the list, we got Adam Warlock. And honestly, I'm gonna put Adam the Warlock probably in A. So if you guys don't know what Adam Warlock has, basically he has a group heal ability. He also has a deny ultimate ability, which is he splits up the damage between everyone in the battlefield. So the reason why I'm putting him on A as well is just Adam's healing is actually really good if you're grouped up all together. The cost of it is that if they have like something like Moon Knight, that's where Adam falls apart. Or they have something to break up that AoE, or like any AoE ability, it just kind of falls apart, and then Adam becomes more and more useless because of it. But Adam in general is just a really great character. He also does an insanely high amount of damage if you're getting really good with him. He has one-shot potential combos and lots of burst damage, putting a lot of pressure onto tanks and fellow, what's it called? Fellow enemies' backlines of sorts. He also has a free res, and the res is actually huge, especially if you can revive allies. Because if you have ultimate, you just go, fly away for a little bit, revive, and then just revive everybody in the team, and then just heal them all up again. And it's actually insane. It's a really good character, and honestly, I don't think he's bad by design. I think the only thing he kind of flaws in is grouping, and grouping does not happen often. Surprisingly, in Rivals, grouping is like the cardinal sin. If you're together, it's literally the cardinal sin because Moon Knight will come and abuse you. I'm not sure who else I can name. Probably Storm, because Storm does have a group thing. Iron Man's ult will come and abuse you, but like there's so many characters that could just abuse you with by being in a group. It's unreal. And that's kind of where Adam's starting to fall off in, but his healing is still good, and he's very valuable. And especially since he has the great shift key, which denies basically any ultimate in the game. If you have enough HP pool for it, you can just press shift, deny. Just deny any ult in the game, allowing him really just to be A tier. He kind of shines through with that ability in the way he can heal as well. And output damage. Honest opinion on that one. Iron Fist. Alright, so this is going to be controversial, but I kind of think Iron Fist leans more into the S tier. Now this is weird, and don't get so mad. No, don't get mad yet. Don't get mad yet. Okay, let me explain. So Iron Fist is really good, especially denying ultimates and also denying any type of space taking. Realistically, if you could go with him, I just feel like he's really good at going in the back line and abusing the living shit out of them and wasting every ability possible. And then you could just keep on consistently getting that Furies of attacks, allowing you to kill players like Iron Man sorts. It's just annoying. Then once you ult, I'm running the fuck away. Like, your ult is just the nuisance of the game. If I see that ult, I'm dead. I'm just dead. Plain simple. I'm just dead. Like, I'm running the fuck away. And his ultimate also gives him a bunch of shield, so he's really tanky as a DPS player. But he's also just really good at doing his job. If you're just good with him, you can get around the map pretty easily and just waste support ult or support abilities entirely, forcing them out and getting picks on supports for free. It's a little controversial, but honestly, I think Iron Fist is probably S tier. And he does a lot as a DPS. And I've seen a lot of good Iron Fist players, but he's one of those DPS you can't just pick up and be insanely good with. It takes time, it takes a lot of skill. Now, Iron Man, D tier. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of recent Iron Man players who are saying Iron Man's insanely good and insanely busted, but he's still fragile as fuck. There's characters that are good at existing, and Iron Man's one of those characters that are good at existing. If Iron Man exists, he does a lot. If he doesn't exist, he literally just he does nothing. He does nothing. The only perk that Iron Man has, and this is my honest opinion, is that he's quiet. That's it. He literally does what Liu Kang should be doing, but 10 times better because he can fly and he's quiet. Like, nobody can hear this man coming. Like, you go and nobody will hear you because all the audio effects that you get is the wind effect. Like, you literally only hear the wind in your face, and that's for the Iron Man player. But for the enemy team to hear you, they just don't. They just don't. Or at least I don't personally. And that might be because I'm on focus mode, but like, I generally think Iron Man is the worst if he's not allowed to exist. If he's allowed to exist, then he's the best. But that's like the one rule casing. Will the enemy team allow you to exist? And that's something you're not going to want to normally risk in a match. But for characters like where you're using your team up with Hulk, it's something that you can do because you could just sit behind the payload or you can sit behind a wall or something and no one's going to focus you out because maybe you ban Luna. But again, it just comes down to like what the playstyle is. If you can exist, then you just win the game by default, no matter if you have the team up or not. Now, Jeff. This is also their controversial thing, but I feel like Jeff is actually kind of a B? Now hear me out. Before anyone starts molding how the fuck is Jeff a B, or how the fuck the Jeff is not an S, or how the Jeff is a C, Jeff's ultimates are actually really good. If you're good at a Jeff player, you would know how to like actually deny the ability effect, right? So like Magneto can block his stuff. There's a lot of characters that can just deny the ultimate entirely, but I've met a couple of good Jeff players who are actually really good at timing their ultimates. And in the middle of a fight, they'll just go in ult form. They go num 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 num. Take out two supports are dead. The whole fight will almost be won because of that one play. And even if you were argue that, well, majority of the players are gonna have to like, what's it called? They're gonna be good enough to kill him, right? Not necessarily. Even in GM, I don't really see many Jeffs die when it comes down to the ultimate play. When I'm talking about the ultimate play, by the way, because Hawkeye and Hela are also banned majority of the time, so no one's gonna be able to beat him that easily. And his hide seek is pretty hard to hit. But Jeff's healing is terrible. It's just flat out bad. It's like the worst fucking healing in the game. I won't even lie. I feel like all the characters in this game really do need healing buffs, especially Jeff. Jeff is the biggest for healing buffs. His only kit that actually makes him somewhat valuable in healing is just his bubbles. That's it. But just pure healing is just bad. It's just bad. There's no way around that. The only way you can play Jeff, and this is my opinion on how you play Jeff, you just sit up top and just spray nozzle everybody. And you just be a nuisance. And again, this is one of the characters that as long as you're allowed to exist, you're fine. But the only reason why I'm making him B is because his ultimates are insanely strong if you timed it well. But that's it. That's it. That's literally it. Everything else about him is kind of eh. This whole kit's kind of eh. His bubbles are really helpful and really nice. And his healing can be good. You just have to be up high ground and just be really much of a nuisance. And also you have to hope your teammates will take cover because they know you have low healing. And they can't be taking too much damage. But they're going to kind of just go in this whole entire argument of blah, blah, and, you know, it's Jeff. It's just Jeff. Now, Loki. I haven't played too much Loki, so I don't know where to exactly play him, but I honestly want to say he's an S tier. Surprisingly, Loki's healing is insanely high and insanely good. More higher than I think people realize, actually. I think Loki is slept on hard. And I think he's actually better than Liu Kang in certain ways, because Loki just denies anything. There's an ultimate in the battlefield, he'll just deny it. Even though that it takes like a stone, and they have to destroy a stone, you just put 3 clones down, then you just do the thing. Just go shh. You just deny ultimates. You can also deny Pshylock ultimate. Like, you deny majority of the ultimates in the game, pretty much. Or you can just go invis, right? Walk away or run away. And heal while you're invis, by the way. Which becomes a nuisance problem, because a lot of characters are not going to pick Brawl. If they pick Brawl, then you're kind of dead as a Loki player. But if they pick gun players, they have to literally start shooting all over the place, trying to figure out where the frick he went. Or sometimes they'll just not get fooled by the clone. It's kind of like Mirage, but in a better light, if that makes sense. Because you could just deny ultimates, literally. Pshylock ult, Shamrock Rot. Punisher ult, Shamrock Rot. He just denies any ultimate in the game. Even Bucky ultimate, he could just deny it entirely. Even though you still have to overheat, and then you have 3 rocks next to you, they're gonna have to take the time to shoot the rock, but your tank's probably gonna sit there and put shield out and be the goddamn wall he is, so Loki gets away with it entirely. So the lamp is actually insanely good, insanely helpful. And I also think his healing is really good, especially if you have 3 clones put up. Because 9 out of 10 times, I have not seen people focus the clones. I'm sorry, but nobody focuses the fucking clones, bro. It's the one util in the game that's just there to exist. And if it exists, it does so much goddamn work. It does so much damage. It does so much healing that it's insane. And also, Loki has a really busted team comp if he's playing with, what's it called, Hela. He gets bonus health for a kill that Hela gets, as well as he can get revived if Hela gets a kill. Which, again, it doesn't really happen often, because Hela doesn't really get played often because it gets banned a lot in Diamond. But for a lot of lower ranks, Loki probably would be a good pick, especially if you have a good Hela player. Because then you could just get revived in the middle of the fight. Okay, one support's down, or both supports are down, you get revived. Alright, here we go again. Summon back 3 clones, and you put your clones in the right places, right? If you put them up high ground, normally, they don't get focus ever. Like, I'm not joking. If you put it up high ground, they don't get focus ever. And they're really good about the aim assist, too. The aim assist, where you're aiming at, all your clones aim there. Literally. So all your clones are just going to snap their necks and just give you a shit ton of healing. It's just the only reason why she doesn't see much healing is because how hard he is to play. He has a pretty hard skill ceiling with the projectiles, I think. Personal opinion on that one. But he does a good amount of healing. I don't think he's that bad. Now, Luna. Alright, listen. You know where I was going with this one. Luna's my girl, bro. She's my main. I have to be biased. No, I'm kidding. I honestly think Luna's probably one of the best supports in the game, hand down. She does the most healing, but as well as she just does everything. Like, she has fucking damage. She has healing. She also has amplification. She has basically invincibility in her ultimate form, and it's just really extremely hard to kill. But she just does everything. If you want a support that will do everything for you, Luna's your girl. She's just terrifying. She'll basically keep your backline safe while also freezing and doing shit ton of damage and shit tons of heal. Hell, even tanks. Like, if you just sit there and farm the tank, and this is my opinion, farm the tank and you get ult again, boop. Alright, want to get ult again? Okay, go sit there, farm the tank, boop, get ult again. And you put guard on tank, tank comes up almost instantaneously. Like, it's insane how much healing she does. And her guard's insanely useful too, especially if you have a Black Panther player or a Magik and they want to go super deep in and they want heals, or a Wolverine even, and they want heals. Just put guard on them and just keep healing your tank. Literally, I literally have told my tanks just to go take damage. That way you can keep healing them. And Luna's really good for that. Luna is just insane when it comes to those things. Or insane in denying ults yet again, because Luna could just go, what's it called? Press Q whenever Bucky ults, denies every ult in the game. And that's just what Luna does. She can deny any ult in the game, practically, and just say no. Except for the burst ults, granted. Like, Iron Man ult can't be denied. Namor ult can't be... Well, it can be half denied, but you get what my point is. She's incredibly good at it. Now, if we're going to move on to Magik, I would put Magik at maybe... I would say C, actually. Magik's really good. I don't see her played often. But from what I've heard from a friend of mine who plays a lot of Magik and Squirrel Girl, she's really good, but she just has to be good with a teammate. And I've played her a little bit too. The only downfall to Magik is that her HP pool is really bad. Like, I'm sorry, but her HP pool is just almost impossible. Like, there's no doubt that there's not good Magik players out there. If you see a good Magik, or see a Magik player 9 out of 10 times, they're actually good. Just the only good way to play Magik is to have somebody who's her team up. If she has her team up, then she's good, because she does so much more damage, and as well as that allows her to actually do something. Otherwise, she's like a floppy pancake. She doesn't really do much. Her right click's really good for charging up and just getting a little bit of shield in before you go in and engage. But with Magik, it's kind of like you want the feel just to go and engage. Don't engage. Do shit. Do damage. But whenever you're going Elder Child and you just get burst down and you're dead, it sucks. It just sucks. But she's not bad, though. I generally think she's not that bad. I think she's really good and she's really valuable in some cases. It's just you need somebody to play with you. That's it. But most of the time with DPS, you won't want someone to play with you. You just want someone that's actually going to do work. Now, Magneto, on the other hand, for a tank, I don't understand tanks, right? So I'm not going to put Magneto too high. Because this is, again, personal opinions. Oh, gosh. Alright, so I'm going to put Magneto at A, above Adam. Now, Magneto is incredibly good. Yet again, denying ults. That's what tanks are supposed to do. Both shield tanks basically deny ults. But as well as Magneto, who's just like... just says no. Iron Man ults, he just says no. The ult doesn't even exist. His whole thing is his shield zone duration And it's kind of like a Sigma wall, because you know how like you put Sigma wall up, and then you have to take it down, and it takes a whole second to regain. But he's really good at just like resource materials on that, as well as he does a lot of damage. He actually does a crap ton with Wanda too, especially if you have Wanda and what's it called, his team up, he could just sit there and go zoop, 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 like he's playing the violin for Sigma entirely with his sword. And his sword's actually pretty strong. It does a lot of damage. It's just finding a witch or Scarlet in high elo is going to be really impossible because a lot of people don't want to play Scarlet because Scarlet's really. I'm not gonna say she's bad. I think I'll explain later, but I don't think she's that bad. But Magneto's just kind of one of those characters that are good, and I think he's a good tank. I generally do. I don't understand tank fully enough to sit here and be like, I can make a tier list on tank. I can't, realistically. I can't explain what he's good at or what he does best. But I can't explain to you that he does Punisher ult. It's like you see a Punisher ult, right? You just Magneto ult. All the bullets just start coming right into him entirely and just fucks them all over. Because then all of a sudden now they have to avoid a Magneto ult and not shoot at the ult. Giving Punisher basically another reduction for like maybe 5 seconds or so. And if he shoots the ult, he has to hope to God he could shoot it before Magneto can pull it off. And Magneto is also really good at shutting down Luna ults entirely. So if Luna ults, Magneto is just the best to go and shut it down. And on top of that, if you power up the projectile of his ultimate, it also has a bigger AoE. So it does even more damage and even more AoE, allowing you to get multiple kills off at the same time. Now, Mantis. Oh, God. People are going to hate me. I'm going to put Mantis on A. I think Mantis is really good. And she's like kind of like the next support you would go for. It'd be Luna and Mantis. Mantis is incredibly strong and definitely broken and OP in her own way. But the amount of freaking times I see her ultimate and then she gets burst down, because that's just what happens in her ultimate compared to Luna, is unreal. Her ultimate is good, but it really sucks at going burst damage compared to Luna, where basically Luna could just say, no, no, no. Think about it. Like, Mantis doesn't really do that. You can pretty much die in Mantis ult relatively easy because the tick rate's not that fast. Luna's ult, it's a lot faster. And you also have the empowerment. Meanwhile, Mantis will give you a movement buff and as well as just general healing and shields, which makes it really good for her ultimate. Her healing otherwise isn't bad. It's just not goodish. Like, okay, if your team knows to take cover whenever you get healed, she's good at that. I won't lie. You could spam heal, and if you're really good and you're able to get headshot after headshot after headshot, but let's be realistic here. You're not going to get headshot after headshot after headshot. They're, like, almost every time I play this character, doing that is not going to really happen. It's just going to happen every now and then. It's going to be occasional, right? And that's where your healing comes in. If you get a headshot, all right, you got another heal. Okay, got another headshot. Got another heal. Okay, another headshot. And it's basically just going to be like Adam, where you get to resource management. But honestly, she's good for it, though. She's really good at healing. You play her around the corner, right? Let's say someone's low HP. You put them around the corner, give them 2 heals, especially a tank, or even just 1 for a DPS, and then just let the regen kick them for the rest. But also, Inspiration's really helpful and does a lot of damage. Just inspire somebody, and they just do shit tons of damage. Even Moon Knight, I think it's like a 20% increase, but it's a really good amount of damage. But as well as her team up is really helpful, because then she gets a res. But the only thing about the team up, and this is where I'm going to be controversial with it, it sucks. Because you have Adam. And Adam with 50% more heal is good, but you don't have a main support. And Mantis is offense support, and going main offense is not bad. Have someone that does a lot of healing, one that doesn't do as much healing. But Adam has a condition towards what he needs to do before he can do a lot of healing, so that's where his team up sucks. And it kind of just throws him off, where Luna can get a team up basically with Liu Kang, and Liu Kang is not bad, and can do a lot more with it. And honestly, I just think Mantis is just generally an A. Her sleep's really good. Honestly, I've messed with sleep a couple times, and it really does help, and it's really helpful. The only thing about the sleep that makes it bad-ish is that you can shoot the sleep. If someone on the enemy team has time to shoot the sleep, they'll just shoot the sleep, and then you're just out of it. On top of that, also, real quick, is that her projectiles feel like ass to use. Like, I've tried so many times to use her projectiles correctly, but it feels like ass. I'm gonna be the first one to say this, but it feels like ass. And maybe it's just because I'm bad with Mantis. I've played her quite a lot. I've been trying to learn her more and more. I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm the best Mantis player, but I have a good understanding for the supports majority of the game, because I am a support main. I've spent a lot of time in the sports. But Mantis is just kind of an A to me. She's not really that bad. She's not that good. I think she's overrated when she's put in S tier because Loki basically does everything but 12 times better because she could deny any ult. Mantis can't deny any ult in the game. She has to sleep, right? Loki can just put lamp down and just deny any ult without really any skill at all, making it easier and a more accessible use. So, I don't know. I'll put her on A. Now, Moon Knight, I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna put in B. See, I think Moon Knight is incredibly strong, but his survivability is really bad. Like, again, this is one of the characters. If it's allowed to exist, he's really good. It's like Iron Man. If he's allowed to exist, he's good. But if you go, no, 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 no Moon Knight for you, then he just flops. He flops like a freaking pancake. Not saying that he doesn't have good options to get out of a situation or get people out of his freaking face. Especially with his totem. You just throw totem down and just basically shred them. But how many times in a scenario are you going to have totem ready to go when you're just going to spam it? And you're just going to go and spam it in the offense, right? And then just go beaming, 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 beaming. And this is something also I noticed a lot of Moon Knights not do, is they don't shoot the target, which if you shoot the target, by the way, it goes back to the totem, and then goes back to the target, so doing double the damage. So shoot the players has more ward with Moon Knight, and he does a lot of AoE, and especially if they have an Atom comp, just go Moon Knight. Just break their positioning, like, entirely. It screws them over entirely. And if you amplify Moon Knight, it does an insane amount of damage. Moon Knight's ultimate's also really good, especially if you're, like, in the back alley, or in areas that are really tight. Moon Knight just ults, and the moon's haunting you, you just don't know where the fuck it is. It just comes on you, you're just dead. You're dying. There is no living in that. Majority of the time. But Moon Knight's kind of just like one of those, again, he's mid, not the best, not the bad though. It's just, it counts if he allowed to exist, he's just gonna be really bad to go against, but I generally think he's not that hard to kill. His teammate's really good, that allows him to kind of exist more and gives more survivability. But again, how many times you're gonna have that? How many times you're gonna have the team up? How many times you're gonna have just everything you have? You know what I mean? It's like the totem, you're barely gonna have it on hand. Because I'm telling you, 9 out of 10 times, I've seen players just use the totem to do damage. But if you save the totem for that one player, it's fine. Namor. I know so many people that played Namor so far, but I still think he's kind of mid. I think he's honestly C. Again, he's one of those characters, if he's allowed to exist, he does a lot. If he's not allowed to exist, he doesn't do a lot. Like, literally. As a Namor player, as Namor players, I've seen them, like, kind of flank around and just sit there and throw their shit, go, zoop, zoop, zoop. The only thing I don't like about Namor, and this is my personal opinion when I'm playing him, is his projectile is weird. Like, it's super weird because, like, if you aim at their neck level, or their head, you have to aim above it. It's weird. And that's kind of like how their projectile works, because the hitbox is go under it, and if any part of the hitbox hits a body, it counts as a body. And that's kind of how the game mechanics work. So Namor is really fucking annoying just to go against in general. And I also think Namar's squids can be really annoying, especially if you set them up correctly. Namor is really aggravating to go against, because he just go and just slows everybody down. Like, literally. He could just sit there and slow everybody. But as well, he does a lot of damage in outcome. He also can deny Luna ults entirely just by going summoning a fucking whale. And I've noticed lately, and I've noticed this just recently, is that you can see where the maximum damage of the whale is, and then the what's it called? The minimum damage is. And the enemy can see that too, so they could just avoid the maximum damage entirely and go to the minimum damage. And to kill Luna ult, you need the maximum damage, but if you can get a Groot ult with that ult, it's insane. Like, the combo with that ult is also nuts. But as well as with Luna, he has a great team up where Luna gets more healing with Namor, as well as Namor gets more damage and a different squid that allows you just to basically, I think it's a frost ability. I'm not sure. I think it does more damage. I don't remember what the team up is exactly. But Namor just in general is really good, especially with right click. Right click can do a lot of damage. He can dish out a lot of damage. It's just he has to sit there and exist. Again, it's just one of those characters who sits there and exists. And because he exists, he just gets a lot out of it. But if people start diving him like crazy, and he can't exist, it's just gonna fuck him over. Also, his bubble is incredibly good. I actually think his bubble is kind of like a reset counter. If your supports are nearby, and you just bubble away, and just sit there for like 3 seconds in the bubble, you get healed, and you're just, again, insta reset, and it's gonna be a lot harder to kill you. He has a lot much better survivability than she does, or magic. But I wouldn't put him above Moon Knight because Moon Knight does a lot better AoE and just general damage. While he'll just sit there and be like, Neptune spear, guide me! You just keep throwing spears at you, but you can pretty much hear spears from any direction. Oh no. Oh no. This man. Alright, listen. I already got harassed in the comments section about Black Panther not being that good. But hear me out. I know a good Black Panther, and they're terrifying. I'm gonna put Black Panther on A. A little next to Magneto. Because Black Panther is just terrifying. If you're actually generally good with Black Panther, I think he's generally terrifying. Maybe I'm just bad at going against them. And honestly, 100%, I'm bad at going against them. There's a couple of situations where I've just freeze them and just kill them, or we just net him and kill him. It's just really annoying to go against them because, again, his movement's really good. You throw spear down, you dash. Okay, well, now you got one player. But the thing about his dash, and this is something I didn't even realize, and I didn't think about it, was stupid at the time. You could just dash one player. You could throw spear, hit 4 players, dash one player, dash to the next, and have infinite freaking dashes. And maybe just because like you're a Mantis player, you could sleep him. I don't know, because of the mid-frame and dashes yet. I don't know how that works specifically. I don't know how Mantis sleep generally works. And you could be like, nope, you don't get anything out of this. And then it's like, well, shit. But at the same time, Luna could freeze him. But if Panther's going for like characters, maybe like the DPS are out of line or out of pocket, that's a little hard to go against. Or even if you're just like low HP, like let's say you're half HP as a Luna player, he throws spear on you, you just either have to freeze him in the moment of his dash, or you're just kind of screwed. But a lot of good players kind of know how to play Panther to this point, where they could just go zoop, 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 zoop. And his ultimate is insanely good. If you're in the line of sight of that ultimate, it's like a dragon. Like, you guys know Hanzo's dragon, right, in Overwatch? It's literally that. You just don't want to be in the middle of it. If you're in the middle of it, you're dead, man. Like, that shit hurts. No, it doesn't hurt, but it marks you, so that way he can just go back to dashing again. And then use Spirit Man, go zoop. All right, dash again, dash again. It's like the Carnage. He's just Carnage with dashes. He's literally Genji, but just dashing non-stop. The only times he'll stop to dash is whenever he has to throw a spear again to get the duration, but that's about it. But I know a really good Black Panther player, so it's kind of why I'm putting him in A. But again, it's one of those characters not easy to use. But if you get really good with him, he's a fucking nuisance. Now, Penny. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. No, no, no. Penny's S tier. Hands down, Penny, I would say, is like one of the best tanks in the game. I have met one of the best Pennies in the game, hands down. And I swear, I'm gonna put a picture of him too. I'm gonna put a picture of what his name is. And Penny is incredibly good. I think Penny is incredibly strong. I honestly think she's so underrated. I think I've seen most people put her like in C or D because she's easy to kill. But it doesn't matter if she's easy to kill. She does so much. She has freaking mines and a Spire Nest. And if you shoot the webs onto your mines, it's really hard to see Penny's mines. I'm not even joking. Like, when they come up, you could shoot it easily. And if you have good reaction time, you can easily kill off the mines. But she just does a lot by denying by mines. What's it called? Webs. Oh, dude, no, her web is so bad. And especially Spire Nest. If you plant Spire Nest and you connect it by web, you could just lead a whole minefield. And they have to shoot the Spire Nest. And 9 out of 10 times, I see this in GM, by the way, nobody shoots the Spire Nest. I'm not joking. And this is my experience from GM, granted. This is not like top 500. This is not attorney. So maybe those ranks are different. But in GM, I swear to God, nobody fucking shoots the Spire Nest. Even Diamond. And I keep telling people all the time, do not let the Spire Nest live. Penny's whole thing and the reason why she'll live for 5 minutes straight is because the Spire Nest is there. If the Spire Nest is there, you're just a dead man. If she ults with Spire Nest, you're a dead man. Just kill the Spire Nest. For the love of God, kill the Spire Nest. Just don't let that crap live. That is the only ability that Penny has that allows her to do so much. That's it. It's just that one ability. Everything combos with that one ability. It's unreal. You just have to kill it. Now, in general, Penny's ultimate is kind of wonky, but it's still a good ultimate. You just basically put your Spire Nest behind it, ult, and then just start going crazy. You just go all the way around. And then you just come back when you're about half HP again, or when your ultimate's about to end, so that way you're not out of position. But as well as Penny could just go sling up high ground and just say no. If there's a DPS alone, she'll just come in like Batman in the night and just say no. And just start doing a bunch of damage to him. The only thing that's wonky about Penny, and I honestly think is really weird, is that she doesn't move left to right like Venom or Spider-Man can. She can run up walls, but she can't move left and right, which is really wonky. I don't understand that honestly. Like why can't she just move to left or right? Like what would be the problem? I don't even think that would be overpowered for her. But I think she's really good, especially with her team up with Venom. She does a lot of damage. The team up's not like more of a what's it called? A thing you're gonna use often. If you're ulting and you're in a bad position, then I would say the team up's really good for that. But again, I don't understand tank personally that will best. I'm just getting my experience from tanks I've played against and tanks I've played with. But Penny is super easy to punish if you're not careful. It's one of those things you do have to be careful with, but has a lot of reward for being careful. Now, Pshylock, I would probably put into S tier, to be honest. Right next to Luna. Now, hear me out. Before anyone starts molding that I put Pshylock next to Luna and not atop. I was a Pshylock main since the game came out, alright? I first main Pshylock, and I was literally Lord with her in day 4. Psylocke does a lot of burst damage, but she also is very versatile on how you can play her. You can play her either more harass the back line or more harass the front line and just play me your tank. She's really good at both. She appeals to literally both. I don't think Psylocke is good in defiance of just being the harass the back line, get the supports only. That's all you need to do as a Psylocke player. Like, no. Her ultimate's incredibly easy to counter-react. It's really not that big. But her ultimate's really good for killing off weak targets or targets that don't have any util. Like, let's say Loki doesn't put down, already put down his Shamrock Rocks, right? You just ult. You go kill Loki with ult and see if you can get another pick, maybe. And it's good for getting, like, double kills or even Groot ult. It's really good for just sneaking in one kill or doing a shit ton of damage. Or putting pressure in. Or heck, even wasting a support ult. If you can waste a support ult with this ult, it's not bad. It's a good trade. Because you can just build up your ultimate again in a relatively matter, like, maybe 3 minutes or 2 minutes or so. If you're good at doing a bunch of damage and you're incredibly quick and agile with her. But she's also really easy to kill if you're not careful. Because if you just, like, dash twice and you, let's say you go invis to get into a fight, and then you don't have the invis and anything else afterwards, and then you're half HP, you can't go invis again for, like, another 8 seconds or so, and you have to keep shooting to reduce the cooldown. So then you're basically gonna get fucked. Or you might even get snowballed and then get fucked. Because she doesn't have that high octane movement without that dash. Or that invis. But she's not bad. I generally think she's really good. It's just you have to be good with her, but as well as you don't have to play all backline harassment only. Even though that's what she's strongest at. Again, I don't think you have to. This is just an honest opinion, but I haven't played her in a minute. I played her only through, like, plat level, to be honest. Then I kind of stopped playing her, and then I stopped seeing her as much. I think a lot of people just gave up on her because her skill ceiling's way too high for them. Or her skill ceiling's way too high, so. So Rocket. Again, another controversial thing. But I would say he's somewhat relative close to Jeff. Rocket is really good at survival. If you can survive as Rocket, that's what he does best. He's good at surviving. It doesn't matter how, doesn't matter when, he's good at surviving. He's literally the guy who'll just go... You just see him zooming off the goddamn sky. Escaping tank players are normally, like, DPS players. And I've survived with Rocket a lot, and I've had a really high KDA with him, actually. Just surviving alone. But he's also really good at just reviving his team and resetting teammates entirely. The one thing that Rocket doesn't do is heal. Like, his healing is so bad, bro. It takes 5 fucking years for his little orb to go... It's like a freaking Mora orb, but that's just in the... Like, one orb is a considerate of 3 orbs he shoots. His healing is incredibly slow. Like, I'm sorry, but his healing is so slow. It takes a whole 5 minutes. Compare a Mantis heal, it's just like... It's not even close to it. Like, it's not even close. It's so long. It's so long. But it's such a good heal, too, because you can shoot it, like, through walls, or you can shoot it behind walls, right? Where it bounces and starts going... Or you can just shoot it all the way across the map from top of the wall. And I think it will bounce back and actually come back to your ally and just start healing them. So that way you can heal from other angles, or you can climb up group walls if you need to, just to heal your teammates. But again, it's just a really slow heal. He's really good at mobility and being high octave, as well as his team up with Punisher and Bucky is annoying as hell to go against. His amplifier makes it so that way you can just shoot infinite amount of bullets, but as well as you get, I think it's it amps the fire rate. It should be amping the fire rate, and then because of the amping of the fire rate, it also makes a really good team up, and it makes it really insanely busted. His res is really helpful. Basically a free res. It goes on a 40-second cooldown. But it's basically just a free res. It's just a totem. As long as you put it in good spots, you really won't have too many issues with him. He'll just basically put totem down, gets free heals, and as well as just like the launch packet that you can just jump up. You can make some really good combos with it. But as well as just, it's just his healing output. I think his healing output's really bad. Like, everything else about him is insanely good, and he's incredibly good, especially his ultimate. When you put ultimate down, dude, that double damage amplifier, they either have to choose to shoot the amplifier or shoot your enemies or the players, right? And 9 out of 10 times, people are not going to shoot the amplifier. I'm going to be honest here. I have barely seen people shoot the amplifier. Like, I'm Luna, and I'm shooting the amplifier. Like, that is 9 out of 10 times just going to be me shooting the amplifier. Which puts us at a big disadvantage, because I'm not going to be able to heal as much or output any damage. But at least I'll get the amplifier gone. Because people will just ignore the amplifier. And if you ignore the amplifier, you're just, no. Just no. Don't. For the love of God, don't. That shit hurts. Especially with a buddy team up as well, it can really hurt. But otherwise, I think he's kind of just like a decent character. I think he's one of the characters you could just use as a backup. If you don't know how to play like Loki, if you don't know how to play Luna, if you don't know how to play Mantis or Adam, he's just a good backup. And you just want to learn Jeff. I know. He's just a good backup. You just have to keep in mind you have to play in cover with your team. That's all it is. Alright, now Scarlet. So many people are going to be mad at me with this. I think Scarlet's B. And the reason why she's a B is because she is the #1 tank harassment I have ever seen in my goddamn career. She's crazy when it comes to tank harassing. If you just sit there and suck off the tank, and especially with Magneto's team up, and if you get Magneto on your team, which 9 out of 20 times, you will have a Magneto player. I am not joking. There are very common Magneto players. It will either be Strange or Magneto. And I think she's really good at just sucking the tank off. You just sit there and go, suck the tank off. Okay. Now throw little plasma balls, right? And the plasma ball does a lot of damage with sucking the tank off, which regens the plasma ball again. So you just go, zoop, zoop, zoop. It's like a little wizard. You're literally just flinching your one everywhere. But with Magneto's team up, it basically allows Magneto to do even more damage. And Wanda could just sit there and play next to Magneto. Again, like, she kind of plays like a Brigitte. She's not really, like, a damage hero as she should be. I feel like she's more of, like, the Brigitte of the situation, where if you sit right next to Magneto, she does a lot. If Magneto and her focus the same thing together, she does a lot. And she has basically a free get-out-of-jail card with her invis, or her, what's it called? Her shift, where she just goes, doo! It's really good. And her ultimate can be really helpful in certain situations. It's just hard to play it off. But what I've seen from a lot of other people is that they found a tech with her to make it actually her ultimate really valuable. With Strange's portal, he's basically ult, and then as you're ulting, Strange opens the portal last second, and you just go in, boom, and just they're all dead. They're all gone. Like there is nothing you can do against that. I think the one thing that she falters in though is her stun is terrible. I'm sorry. If you can hit the stun off, it's good. But it's just a terrible stun to have in general. It just doesn't really do much. The stun's just a stun. It needs to be buffed. I think the stun like needs a larger radius or any type of buff to it would make it a lot better. It's kind of the same with like Jeff. He needs more healing. But Scarlet needs this abundant stuff. Like, please, please, buff the stun. Or just buff her range just a little bit. Not much, just a little bit. But she can be really annoying. She's really good, I think, personally. And if you're a good player with her, and you actually know to play behind your tank and just suck off the enemy tank as much as you can, especially their offense tanks, they'll take a lot of damage. Because you're doing, basically, HP, like, percentage. And especially with explosive, it makes it really good. You just have to team up with Magneto. My honest opinion on that one. Just team up with Magneto and you'll be fine. But if you're just doing Scarlet Witch alone without Magneto, it kind of just makes it so that way it sucks. But I think Scarlet's actually really good. I think she's valuable. Now, Spider-Man. Again, this can be really controversial. But I think Spider-Man's S tier. And I honestly think Spider-Man is better than Pshylock for two main reasons. Spider-Man has more mobility. He also has, I think he gives Venom a buff. Which, if you give Venom a buff, it's literal nightmare fuel for a lot of support players. But he's also the #1 harassmenter for supports. Like, I would consider Spider-Man the guy who's going to go there, beat up the supports, and just swing away. Swing away. And his mobility is insane. If you're really good with it, you can do a lot of mobility tricks. I even saw bunny hopping with him, which if you guys know, I'm from Valorant, and bunny hopping is insane. And if you're good with Spider-Man, you can just bunny hop the fuck away. Even though I do believe that Spider-Man's incredibly hard to play, if you get good with him, he could be one of the best of the best, like hands down. Not saying he doesn't need buffs. I definitely think he needs buffs to be a little bit easier because it's just kind of ridiculous that his brawling is that bad. But even so, people have managed to make it work, even with pulling people off the damn map, which I still think is crazy to this day. Like, you just pull somebody off the map. You just go, shoop, shoop. You're gone. Goodbye. Have a nice life. Like, that's insanity. But I think Spider-Man is just one of those characters where if you're good with mobility, if you get good with attack, if you have Venom as a team up too, you could even do a one-shot combo. You can get really good with them and just be the harassment the back lines just doesn't want to have. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be like, well, you can sleep him really easily, you can ice him really easily, you can just counter anything he does really easily. But have you gone against his ultimate really easily? Like, be honest with me. If this man waits 5+ minutes, and you're going to tell me you're going to look up, which honestly, I doubt it, because a lot of people don't see Spider-Man often, even I don't see him very often. Like, he'll just be up there, sticking to the wall, just waiting for a good moment. And he comes down like he's fucking from spy movies, and just ults. Goes, the amazing Spider-Man! And just starts webbing everybody, and then everyone gets stunned, and they'll just namor ult, or just do some other bullshit mechanic just to finish you off. That's kind of where he comes good in. His ultimate is really good for teaming up. If you just team up with someone else, it doesn't have to kill, but it does a lot of damage. Even with tanks, it just puts them in a stun position for a minute, allowing you to do another ult, and if you combo 2 ults together with his ult, it's game over. It's game over. Like, you're just done. You're just done. There's no running away. The only thing you do, the only thing that, like, I would probably buff about Spider-Man, and this is my honest opinion, for the love of God, make it so that way you can't stun him. He doesn't need shields. Just make it so you can't get stunned. Because, again, it's annoying to get interrupted mid-ult as a Spider-Man. I think that's really stupid. But I also think his high skill ceiling gives him a lot of, like, flavor. And makes that, like, people who really want to play hard characters and be very expressive about their way they play them, really fun. Now, oh yeah, real quick though, I forgot. Also, his uppercut's insane. Like, his air control is like playing Doomfist. Like, if you're wanting to play Doomfist, you ever played Doomfist before, right? In Overwatch 1? This is Doomfist. I'm not joking. Doomfist with more mobility. Like, it may not look like it, but I promise you, if they buff him even slightly, he'll become Doomfist. Now, onto Squirrel Girl. Again, controversial. But I think Squirrel Girl's actually really good. I know a really good Squirrel Girl player, and I don't see many Squirrel Girls. But I think Squirrel Girl is the most terrifying fucking thing that ever can exist in life. She is the Junkrat of the situation, right? But if you're good with Squirrel Girl, she's just annoying. Her ultimate is like a dragon, right? Like Hanzo's dragon, even though it's bad and it doesn't really do much, it still is terrifying. If you get hit once with that ultimate and you're half HP, you're just dead. If you team up with Groot and just ult, you're just dead. It is just pretty much a death sentence there at that point. Especially if you're using your nuts correctly. And her team up with Spider-Man can even be more penalizing, because you could just throw one acorn, stun again, throw another acorn, stun again. And it's just insane. Because you could just keep throwing stuns. You have 3 stuns on pocket. 3! Which is just crazy. And if you're stunned with Squirrel Girl, and you're just like sitting there next to a Squirrel Girl, you're just dead. You're a goner. You are not surviving, Squirrel Girl. She will fucking do damage. She hits you like a truck. She's like islands. I also think her shift is actually really good. At first, I wasn't thought it was that good, but once you kind of get used to the mobility, it actually has kind of like a speed boost to it. So if you're playing like a maps where there's high elevation, or if you just want to get out of a situation, you just go up in the air, and there's actually a pretty good speed boost to it. So you can get really good with attack. You can actually go double bounce and just bounce super far back, and then just come back and just go doop, doop, doop. And if you get really good with them, I think she's really good. Again, you just have to get good with her. And I even have a friend, like I said, I'm not gonna name them. I'll probably put like their Twitch link or something in down below, so you guys can go check them out though. They're incredibly good Squirrel Girl. And maybe they don't get picks, but they do a shit ton of damage, which also puts a lot of pressure on people. And making plays, putting a lot of pressure on players, it's just insane. And again, Junkrat's one of those characters where you're not going to see him get many kills. You'll see a lot of damage out of him, but not many kills. And Squirrel Girl is basically Junkrat 2.0. So, equivalent to the fact that she does a lot of damage, it's just people suck at getting final hits for them, or getting the trade-off pick for the damage they do. Now, Starlord. Alright, listen, I've seen a lot of Starlord players that are really good right now. And I'll put Starlord in S. It sounds stupid, but Starlord is probably one of the best, I would say, DPS when it comes to just being a nuisance. Especially with his ultimate, if you just go, what's it called, up in the air, and normally you're vulnerable up in the air, but the amount of times he'll just beam you before you can even shoot back is insane. Like, you have to have your whole team peek him at the same time if you want to kill him, or a shield up, and you have to be behind the shield, and you gotta hope to God that shield doesn't die, because he'll just beam you. And as soon as he beams you, he does his little kickflip again. Okay, back to beaming. Okay, kickflip again. All right, back to beaming. And he just gets a kickflip, I think, like 3 times in the middle of his ultimate, which allows him to reload insanely quick. And his ultimate reload's not bad. It's really good. As well as his positioning with just a shift and alone, it's just like E, right? And when he presses E, he just starts doing damage to nearby enemies, but he can also shift with his E. Even though it's really easy to kill him when he E's, because you just hit the middle center of the map, but it makes it really easy to pick off targets that are already low, and you just zoom away. Or you could zoom with E, doing damage like a drive-by, like you're just going in a car shooting, and just casually slipping away like, duh. So, I don't know, but he just does a really good amount of damage, especially when you kickflip again, you just reload all over again, and you can just do insane amounts of damage. I also think that even at far range, he does a lot of damage. Like, a lot of damage. I can just beam people from just medium range. And he doesn't have, like, tracer guns. He looks like he has tracer guns, but his guns are kind of like Soldier, if anything. They're kind of like medium range. Like, they don't have too much spread, but they don't have too much increase. It's kind of like Sojourn, if anything. If that's a good comparison, if anything, to make. But I think he's honestly just really good. He generally does a lot of damage. And I've played him a lot recently, and I think he's just insanely good. And I also think if people, again, get really good with this one character, they could do a lot. I've seen a lot of takes on him also being probably one of the best DPS out there. But again, I'm still going to say that like all the characters are valuable. You just have to learn what their kits are, what they're good at, what they're bad at. So Storm, I would put it B. Now, hear me out. I know a lot of people are going to be like, why is she a D? Why is she a D? Why is she a D? Storm is just incredibly good at, again, existing, like Namor, like these guys right here, right? But the difference between Storm and a lot of other characters is that she has an AoE. She can sit there and exist and amp her team. She is support as a DPS. She is literally the sim of the situation. But she does a lot of damage, and I actually played a couple games with her, and she does a lot of damage, surprisingly. You just have to be good with her. It's just kind of like you have to play her in like towards that kink area, right? Where instead of going like all in front and being the guy that does all the damage, right, or being up high ground, you just kind of want to fly low and just kind of be like Iron Man and be around buildings and sorts and play behind the team as much as possible, just so you can exist. And then whenever they try to come and chase you, or if they try to like come and kill you, just fly up again so all the brawl characters can't kill you, and they have to waste so much of their stuff just to come up there and try to kill you. And I'm sure like maybe a hit scan will kill you or sorts, but I generally never see hit scans kill this one character. Like, it's very rare to get good hit scans that actually kill this character, because 9 out of 10 times we ban the hit scans in our elo, especially. Actually, where is Hela? Oh, she's here. Okay. I was like, did the tier list mess up? And I'm sure a lot of people would say, well, she throws, like, pebbles when it comes to damage, which honestly is not true. I'm gonna be honest with you here. I feel like her damage is really good, because she can just throw one win, and it just hits everyone from the back line. You throw, like, one, and they're all lined up together. It's like a ricochet of bullets. Just go, shoop! It goes through 3 targets all at the same time. It does a good amount of damage. It's like 1/4 of their health. It's not that bad. Especially if you're able to amp your team and then just speed boost your team. Let's say you press your E, right? It's like a Lucio speed boost. You can speed boost them, and then you can slow the enemy on top of that. Or you could just do damage to the enemy if they're nearby you, for Christ's sakes. But you don't have to amp, to be honest, because your allies still get the boost, and then enemies don't get the slow if you're not amped, right? So if you amp, you get an enemy bonus. If you don't amp, you don't get the enemy bonus. At least not that I've seen. Like, visually, there's a visual effect to tell you, like, hey, that bonus is there. But I think she's just generally good at it. And her ultimate is just a nuisance to go against. Like, if she goes, you hear that ultimate, you're about to run the fuck away. Like, your supports cannot do anything against that ultimate. You can't interrupt the ultimate. You have to kill it. Like, the only way I've found to kill her ultimate is with Punisher ult, but I had to heal Punisher as a Mantis player. And on top of that, amplify him just so he could tank the damage. Like, he had to tank the damage to actually kill this ultimate. And it's like a Doomfist ultimate where basically she could just go anywhere, and she has insane mobility with her ultimate too. So if you're grouped up as 2 supports and you can't get out of that situation, you're kind of just fucked. You're literally just fucked. Like, there's just no way out of it. I've seen Mantis ult. Mantis ult can't kill it. I don't even think Luna ult can, like, get around it. I think Luna ult dies from it. I don't remember. It's been a minute since I've seen Storm, because Storm, again, is one of those characters where you don't see often. But she can be incredibly good and incredibly strong. Now, Soldier, I'm gonna put Soldier in C. I'm not even gonna argue with anyone on this one. Like, Punisher isn't bad by any means, but he's so fucking stupid. Like, the amount of times I see a Punisher player, and this is from a GM perspective, and I've played a lot of the games, I don't see Punisher often. But whenever I go against a Punisher, I just kill him easily. Like, they're not hard to kill. They're generally not hard to kill. They're like literally the meaning of just bad. You're just bad. Like, if you're playing Punisher, you're trying to play Soldier 76 without the heals. I just think they're bad. I think they're bad. I think almost every like Punisher character I ever seen or Punisher player is just they're just bad. I don't think the character himself is bad. I think it's just the player that I go against probably. But again, I think Punisher's just bad. I generally think she's just bad. He's not to the bad point where like I would put him Iron Man level or behind Namor or even behind Magik. Because Punisher does a lot. He still has like the fucking wall hacks whenever someone peeks him. And then your allies, I think your allies can see it too. It's just basically where the enemy's position is entirely. As well as smoke can be kind of helpful if you just smoke off. And here's another thing about smoke is that you could still see silhouettes behind it. So if Punisher's inside his smoke and tries to smoke himself off, I can still see him. So I just get free kills off that. Because there's a whole shadow to it, which is really annoying. I think Punisher's ultimate is also really helpful because you could just go in there and just start beaming the living shit out of it. But you could just die pretty easily in ultimate. Like your supports have to literally sit there and tank you. Like you try to be a fortress, but you're really not. If he's allowed to exist, he's really good, especially with turret. If he's allowed to exist with turret, he's really good. But turret's HP is pretty weak. But as well as like Pshylock can just go behind him and just kill him off entirely if she chooses to or puts pressure on him. And if you put pressure on both sides, it's kind of useless. Again, it's one of those characters where it's like, it's not bad, it's not good, it's just bad. His mobility is really good too, like with his grapple. But it's not enough. He needs major buffs, probably, if anything. I also don't feel like his damage is that threatening to me. Even with shotgun, it just doesn't feel threatening. It doesn't. Even his pull-out time is incredibly long. Like, he's playing pixels, dude. Every time I see this man pull out a gun, it takes him literally 2 seconds to pull out a shotgun at close range. Especially if you're not ready for an enemy and you're trying to pull out the shotgun so you can do more damage. It takes a whole 2 minutes to pull it out. 2 minutes of you just pixelating it in. Like, we're not playing the Pixels movie, man. We don't got that much time. And now sometimes you'll die before it happens. So, now Thor, I'm going to put at B. Again, I don't understand tanks well enough, to be honest with you. I really should not be making tier lists for tanks. So, my takes on tanks, don't take personal. It's just my thing with, like, my experience with tanks. Now, Thor, the reason why I want to put him on B isn't that he's bad. I think Thor is actually incredibly good, especially at soloing out targets. But again, when in the fuck are you going to be able to actually get a Thor player? And when the fuck you're going to be able to solo out a target as a Thor player? He doesn't have made much of good mobility. Like, you just go in, you just start swinging your hammer. You go in there, right? And you just absorb a bunch of damage and just go into the backline, start harassing them. But again, how the fuck are you going to get there? If you're allowed to exist, then yes. If you have a way to get to the backline, then yes, you're incredibly good. But as well as Thor's slow is incredibly strong and everything else in his kit is incredibly strong, it's just like his mobility to get in the backlines is not. It's just really hard for him to get in there. Once he's in there and he's just allowed to exist and nobody punishes him correctly, he's actually just a nuisance. But I don't see many good Thor players, so I don't really have much opinion on it. Widow, I would probably put at C, to be honest. I wouldn't consider her a D because Widow takes a high amount of skill, but she's good. There is good in her. And I think Widow's like the backup hit scan. If Hawkeye and Hela are banned, Widow's a backup hit scan for Iron Man. That way you could just punish Iron Man nonstop. And if, again, this is one of the characters where if they're allowed to exist, like Widowmaker, they'll do a lot of damage. They'll do a lot. Even if they don't one-shot insta-kill, they still do a freaking lot. She basically could just sit in the back, put, what's it called? A timer on you. Basically say, mark that guy. Okay. Now Ice Mage, go kill her. Okay. This person, go kill her. Okay. That person, go kill her. Like, you're 10 fucking HP. If you're an Iron Man and you go slightly out in the open, this will just shoot you once in the head, You're 10 HP. And someone else could just go, oh, Iron Man, dead. And it's like a flying bird. You're like playing duck hunt with this man. Now, her ultimate is incredibly good for just stalling out areas, or even like chamber. She just goes, boop, and then it just stalls out the area entirely. I think she needs an ultimate increase, like in her radius, granted. I think her radius is really bad. But if you get stuck in that radius, it does open a whole entire team vision just for you to do a lot of damage as a team. Or heck, even if you combine her ult with someone else's ult, right? Let's say there's a whole entire mash field, and you just kind of want to like get the ult out instantly, and you just charge it like halfway, maybe, before they expect it. And then you just use Iron Man ult. They're not getting out of that ultimate, or even Storm ult in that fact. Because of that slow effect, you could just pull it off. Like, she's good at team up ults, I think, in generally. But I think, like, majority of her kit, when it comes down to it, if you're allowed to exist, you're good. But you're not, you're just kind of dead. But when she comes up to close range as well, I think she's really good at close range even, too. Which they've done really good at that. At close range, she's still valuable. You could just kick somebody, grapple them, and just doop. They're just pretty much going to be stunned for a minute, allowing you to get the kill off. She's terrible at going against tanks, but when DPS try to dive her, if you're good at hitting your shots, because you don't have to scope in. You could just no scope and literally get picks off that. It's 100% accurate when you're no scoping too. Like, for instance, if you shoot the head first or hit the body, kick, grapple, hit again, you could baton them and they'll just die. Or I think it's probably shoot again and they'll just die. I think it's really just shoot, kick, grapple, and baton is the combo. I don't remember what the combo was. I literally had like a one-shot combo for her, kind of ish. That allow you to do a lot of damage to like DPS players only. She's just not good at going against dive tanks or like dive specifically, but she's allowed to be like very sneaky. And she's really good at repositioning. She just runs away. She's like the, what's it called? She's literally Soldier 76, where as long as you're allowed to exist, you're just a nuisance. And I've seen a couple of good widows. She's hard to run by. But if you're good with her, I think she's honestly insanely one of those characters that like, wow! You know what I mean? And if you have a widow on your team, 9 out of 10 times, they'll be insanely good. I think it'll be insanely bad. It's a 50-50. And I've seen, what's it called? One widow player, and I remember this. She was popping the fuck off with the headshots. Like, left to right, bro. She was crazy, dog. She was doing the work. And she made it work really well. Now, Venom, I would put on A. And I'm going to put him against Magneto. I'm going to put him above him. And I'm going to give you a reason why. Now, Magneto does a lot. Don't get me wrong. As a main tank. But Venom does a lot as an offense tank. So both have different roles. But basically, both, I would even say they're the same. Like, literally, in the category of, like, what they do as tanks, I would say they're the same. I generally would say they're the same. They're the same fucking tank. They're both incredibly good. They're both incredibly good at being a nuisance and also being harassments. I think Venom thing, the only thing about Venom that kind of puts him in a weak spot is his ultimate's pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like his ultimate. I think his ultimate's really bad. It does true damage, so basically when you use it, you can instantly kill somebody. But the problem is, like, you can take damage when in your ultimate. Like, you see that giant glob? Just shoot the glob. Just, whatever you do, just shoot the glob. Just shoot the glob. You literally can do damage to him and kill him off in his ultimate, which is really annoying. I'm not sure if it's while he's, like, ulting and moving around, or if it's just, like, when he instantly goes into it. I just know I've killed him in his ultimate before and just cancel it out entirely, which is really bad. His mobility is really good as a tank player, so he has insane mobility, and he's allowed to just go in there and take a bunch of damage and burst, and then just heal it off again by shrugging off with shield. The only thing with characters like him is that they have Mantis. If they have Luna, you're just kind of dead. You're just going to get flopped by sleeps and ice. Especially with net, you'll just get topped off entirely. It just kind of kills you. So, I don't know. I personally going to put him on A for now. I think he's generally good. I think a lot of players gotten really good with him too. I don't think he's bad by any means, but he just gets burst down way too quickly. Now, if we're going to talk about Bucky, Bucky would probably be more of like A. I would argue he's better than Venom than Magneto. But Bucky is the #1 harassment police. Like, Bucky is really good also at pulling tanks over to the side. Like, if you have a Bucky, or, sorry, Winter Soldier. I call him Bucky all the time because it's his real name. I just like the name. He's just basically Roadhog. He's Roadhog 2.0 or like 3.0. Heck, his hook is Roadhog 1.0. You just grab, pull him to the side, knock him up, and just stun them, and they're just basically dead because your teammates are going to be all on top of him. I also think, again, Again, Rocket's Raccoon's buff with him is really good too. But Bucky just having just that little collide with his bullets, he gets just done a insane amount of damage. Hits one headshot, it's just like half your HP is gone. Like, I'm not joking. That damage hurts. His damage hurts. I think I played him in the comp game. I think it was today, or maybe yesterday, where I was just doing a shit ton of damage for absolutely no reason. But I don't know how to play Bucky that well. Like, his grapples sucked with me, but I can still do a shit ton of damage just from playing the character. I don't think Bucky's that hard to learn. I think he's just kind of one of those characters where you just do a shit ton of damage, and you're just giving value just by doing that. Whenever you use your fucking ultimate, though, granted, Luna and other characters can deny it, but if you're timing your ultimate correctly, it's just nuts. You just go, armed and dangerous, again. It's like when your dad whips out the belt, and you're just getting whipped non-stop. Like, literally, Bucky is the dad of the situation. He'll just whip you to submission non-stop. I also think Bucky's really good at going against Iron Man, because if you use your projectile ball and you're really good at projecting Iron Man's movement, because 9 out of 10 times, they're just going to be hovering. They're just going to be like, zzz, zzz, zzz. And if you're really good with Bucky, you could just go, bang. And Bucky's whole entire E ability is like a little roundup, right? Like, I don't explain it. It's kind of like, you know, like how Punch Out, like when Max has like the whole roundup, goes, that's kind of how Bucky's E is. And once you wound it up and you just send it out, that shit is quick as fuck. And it knocks off Iron Man entirely from his flow, allowing you to kill him off easily, or any flying character for that fact. And you just go, nope, nope. Even Storm heroes, like, you just say nope to their flying entirely and just kill them off. Or heck, even when you drag, if you drag somebody, dude, I swear to God, Bucky's projectile is like the easiest headshots with. I'm not even joking. Out of all the projectiles in the game, I would argue that Bucky's is the easiest to hit headshots with. Like, it's a small little pea shooter, but it's so easy to hit headshots with. Like, it's not even funny. I've like drag like group players and grab tanks before, and I could just easily hit headshots without any problems. But with Mantis, it's hard to hit headshots with because their projectile size is weird. And the way the game works, from where it comes from the gun to the middle center, so it takes like a velocity timing. Bucky's velocity timing isn't really that bad, so you can actually play with him a little bit better. Now, Cloak and Dagger, I would argue, yet again, is kind of like, I want to say S because I play a lot of them, to be honest, and they're like the best next main support you can play. But I also think they're kind of bad at healing. I want to put her next to Loki, because I don't understand Loki fully 100% yet. But I would argue that Cloak and Dagger is insanely good, because they're good at denying ultimates, especially if you just go cloaking away. But the only problem with cloaking away is that 9 out of 10 times your allies are going to shoot it. And if your allies shoot while you're cloaking, you're just uninvisible, so then you're dying to the ultimate anyways. The dagger is really good for just like challenging shots. Like, let's say someone's around a corner or around an area and you can't get to them. You could just bounce her heal and then just aim assist into the target and allowing heal them. You also have an AoE heal with dagger as well, which allows you to heal nearby allies entirely. So if you're grouped up together, it's also a really good heal for that. It doesn't heal much in groups, but still just a small heal can make a slight difference. And then Darkness of having a vulnerability, basically breaking targets, allowing you to do more damage for your team. Like, if you break somebody, right, and then your team just starts shooting them like crazy, they're blind, and on top of that, they're taking an insane amount of damage. As well as Dagger having more heals is really helpful. I don't think she has knockback, I'm gonna be honest. I've seen people say, like, well, she has knockback in her walls, but I don't really see it often. Like, I generally don't. If it's knockback, it's, like, really slight. It's not really noticeable. It's kind of bad, to be honest. Doesn't really help much. But when it comes just down to it, her abilities are not bad. I just think, like, survivability wise, it's pretty bad. Like, you go cloak, your hitbox is giant as fuck. I'm not gonna lie. The hitbox is so fucking big, it's not even funny. But as dagger is kind of like not that big, but you're put in such a bad position because you don't do much damage, but you can do so much healing. And you can also heal in angles where, like, you're not able to heal normally. If you have, like, a wall, you just bounce it and just aim assist to them. But it's also hard to heal because sometimes you'll just have, like, everyone in, like, a Bosch field and you just can't heal that one specific target. Now, Wolverine, I would argue, and this is a real hot take right here, I would put him next to Moon Knight. Wolverine is so fucking good at stealing tanks. If you're a good at Wolverine player, you could just go in there, go steal tank. Like, I literally had a Wolverine player earlier today, and he just didn't die. He was insane. And granted, that was because we had like 3 supports just all buffing him to high heaven to hell. And then we went to 2 support, I think. And then we just buff him to high heaven and hell. But Wolverine's really good if you're good at him. Granted, you have to be good at him. I think his second life also helps a lot. It gives him a second chance, just in case if he takes a little bit too much damage. Okay, well, you got a second life now. Now I can just heal you up entirely. But as well as you can just snag tanks. If you're good with the movement, snagging a tank and just putting them back in the back line just that way you can harass them all over again is actually insane. Especially with characters like Groot, where normally Groot is hard to kill. But if you just snag him, put him in your team, and your team just stuns him, he's not living. He's dying. He's dying. We've had so many Wolverines grab my group player as well so many times, bro, and he just dies. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. But again, you have to be good with him. He's just a high skilling ceiling character, but he's really good. Now, Captain America, I would probably argue that, yet again, he's B. I would put him probably behind Thor, honestly. I'm trying to think. Nah, I would put him above him. Because Cap can kind of just go in there. And I know a lot of people are going to say, like, well, his, what's it called? His shield's not that good, but whenever he goes into his bash mode, where he go zoom, 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 allowing to get extra range, it's actually kind of insanely good. Like, let's say a target's low HP, you already kind of bash them up, and you already got your shield out, you just go zoom, 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 and just kind of run away, or trying to back off slightly while also trying to do that. So that way, you could just kill off the target and just run away again. Kind of like how Flat says, you just kind of play him like a back alley. If you see one in the back alley, you just run over there, kill him off real quick, run back, or just do a bunch of damage. Again, you're just going to be harassment. You're just harassing people as much as you possibly can. But Cap has way more valuability options and mobility than Thor does. Thor is just kind of like a big walking tank, while Cap is just the literal meaning of a motorcycle and a tank mixing together. Like, he'll just run the fuck away. And then his ultimate giving speed boost to his allies is really helpful. When you just go, assemble! And start just running in there, and then everyone just runs in there with you, and it's just non-stop harassment. Cap's just really good at harassing people, and especially when he could just jump up in the air and just dive back down on their supports and just harass them yet again. Even though I do feel like Cap is really easy to hit, if he's good with his shield and he knows the timing and just like when to shield and go back to DPSing, and you have to wait for the shield to get off again, and you have to challenge the shield a bit, and then if you get deflected by the shield, like the shield can just randomly deflect you and just you're iced again. You know what I mean? Or stunned. Like, it's kind of crazy. His shield is insanely good. Now, Strange. I would argue Strange is probably one of the best tanks hands down, no matter what. I generally think Strange is probably, like, the best character in the game. Like, there's just no fucking way you could sit there and convince me Strange is not. Strange does a lot. He just sits there, and he's an impenetrable wall. He denies ultimates in the game, basically. He also has a really strong ult if he doesn't get denied. He could just go, I have Komoto! And just basically retake a whole fucking site. Because you just ulted everybody. And then because of how much you're just standing there, and then on top of that, apparently if you move their bodies, it's a longer stun on top of that. So it even implies them to be better. Like, I'm sure a lot of people already know at this point that Strange is probably one of the best things in the game. But he's just the best. There's no argument. He's just the best hero, period. Like, the amount of games I'll see like a Strange player, and I'm like, dude, why do we not ban Strange? Like, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking that. Because Strange is just so fucking annoying to deal with. His shield's not that good, to be honest. It's one of those shields, like, it's great at first. When you kind of break it, it's relatively easy. But when you team up with Magneto, his shield becomes really helpful and really insanely good. But again, it's just good at denying. If you deny ultimate, like, let's say Iron Man ults, you deny that ultimate entirely. You want to deny a Hela ult? Okay, you fly up there, deny it entirely. Like, his shield denies everything. You can't get through the shield. He's literally the meaning of an impenetrable wall. He's just there to exist. Now, Hawkeye, I would argue is... Oh, yeah, also, Strange is, what's it called? His E is insanely good, too. Like, his burst damage is going half HP entirely. It is also insanely good. You just have to get really good with managing it, but honestly, we pretty much all know why he's top tier. Now, Hawkeye, I would argue that... I would say Hawkeye is yet again... I want to say he's better than Starlord. But I'm not going to say he's better than these characters, because I think Pshylock, Spider-Man are really good at mobility. Hawkeye's just really good at taking characters in the background. Like, he's basically the background character, and if he's allowed to exist in the background yet again, he just does so much. And on top of that, he has really good versatility when it comes to close range. But sometimes you could just get random-ass head taps. Like, you could shut down Luna ult with him just from charging up from someone else entirely. So you go up, you charge up to 100% because you're aiming at someone else entirely, and you just randomly flicked onto Luna, and he just dies in ult. Like, you could just deny ult entirely. Even though it's a luck shot, you could still just deny an ult. And it's insane. He just does a lot of damage. He also does a lot. His ultimate's insanely good because basically you're aiming at a target. You have an after image. You just shoot the after image, and you can just kill them without even seeing them. But his E is also really good because you just have a whole entire slow effect. Go and just slows them entirely. Basically allowing you another easy kill. His shift is really good just for denying any close range space. You can deflect with his melee, which is a cool property into the sword. You can just basically say no to his any ultimates. Iron Man ults. Okay. Pull out your little sword with your melee. Boop. Done. Now Groot. Alright, Groot's another character I would argue is probably like, I wouldn't say at A. I'm not gonna say S. Because Groot is really good. And I think like a lot of people should play Groot as they don't know how to play two main tanks. If they don't know how to play these shield tanks, play Groot. Groot's really good at just denying space or just denying people anything. He's like the Mayo situation, right? He's May but tank. He's literally the May but the tank. You just got May but more HP, and if you Groot wall basically what that's called, the tanks off, you're also doing more damage to the tanks because 9 out of 10 times I've seen people just not shoot the wall. I'm not joking. Like your DPS in like GM will barely ever shoot the wall, if anything. Especially if you have assassin characters, they can't really shoot the wall. Like, as a support player, I 9 out of 10 times have to shoot the wall, and I'm sitting there shooting the wall, and it takes like me a whole 5 seconds. But if you're good with Groot, you can just, like, wall off basically anyone. Especially with Bucky, if you Bucky pull them, wall them off, they don't get heals at all. You're just denying them any access at all. And Groot's just good at punishing anybody. Just any tank, any support, any DPS. Anybody in the game, he could just go and punish. Even though some characters can get out of the situation with the walls, he's just good at punishing it. If you don't have that ability or the way to get out of it, he'll just punish you for it entirely. Now, his ultimate's also really good for comboing with other ults, too, on top of that. He also has a really good high amount of damage, especially with his walls. He does, again, get a high, insane amount of damage. And you can also deny ultimates if you just wall it off. Like, if you see an Iron Man ultimate, you put Iron Wall up, boop, dead. Put Groot Wall up, boop, dead. You can put 2 shield up. It's just kind of like, it's a lot harder to counteract ultimates with him. But, I don't know. I just think he's generally all around good. Now, Hela, I would have to argue is probably like A. I'm not gonna say Hela is S, and I'm sure a lot of people are gonna say it's S because it's like the only hit scan really in the game. But Hela is good. But again, her survivability is really bad. Like, she just sits there and does damage. She'll just throw like Kiriko. She'll just go doop, doop, doop. She'll like shift away, magic away. And just gets away just for like a little bit. But again, you're not gonna see many Hela players because again, she'll get banned a lot because like, she puts so much pressure if she's allowed to exist. But once you like kind of get onto her and you just put a lot of pressure on her, even though she has invincibility with that crow, as soon as she doesn't have that crow, she's kind of dead. I ain't gonna lie. And her stun's really good. Her stun, I would say, like, is S+. Every other thing about her is S+ by her crow. Her ultimate's insanely good. You just go up. But if Doctor Strange is there, she'll just literally not be able to do shit with her ult. If Magneto's there, she's not gonna be able to do shit with her ult. If people sit there and actually shoot her ult, she's not gonna be able to do shit with her ult. Also, her ultimate having wall hacks is insanely good. But, yeah. I just think she's like A. I wouldn't say she's S. Now, Hulk. I'm sorry. Hulk players. Listen, you're better than Iron Man, okay? I've been trying to learn Hulk. And I'm terrible with tank tips. Like, tank is like my worst, okay? I don't know tank well. I am terrible with tank. But I would argue that Hulk is D. I would, you know what? Can we make a mid rank for Hulk? Is there a way to make like a mid rank for Hulk? Hold on. Here, we'll name it Hulk here. You know what? Who cares? He's better than Iron Man. Because Iron Man, honestly, again, is allowed to exist. He's just bad. Hulk is good. But the thing that separates him from Iron Man is that he has a shield. He can basically say no to any imprisonment or trapments. Like, let's say they try net, and you don't even need a shield on. That's the funny part. With Hulk, if you just press shift as a projectile is coming to you, it doesn't count. And I think it's a bug, but you could just say no just by pressing shift, and it's insane. And in that part, Hulk is really good. I think everything else about him is just kind of eh. Like, you can get Iron Man from flying and from high ground or any character that's up in the air. but it's really hard, and I think he's a high skill ceiling. He can be good, but how many times are you gonna tell me he's good? If he's allowed to exist. If he's allowed to exist, he's good. Again, one of those characters are allowed to exist. If I ice him, which 9 out of 10 times I get ice and Hulk pretty easily, unless they go boop when they see the ice, then I'm kind of screwed. Or if Mantis sleeps him, he's kind of screwed. Again, because everyone has to just turn around. It's just kind of like Winton. You just have to turn around. That's all it is. As soon as you turn around, it's that easy. Everyone turns around, kills off Hulk. I mean, Hulk builds up almost every time. The only thing that makes Hulk so good that so many people want to play him is for the team up for Strange and an Iron Man because their damage is insane. Hands down. But honestly, that's my honest opinion on this tier list. I know this video is a little bit more lengthy than I should have made it. I'm gonna make a bookmark so that way you guys don't have to like, sit here and listen to like a whole hour, 15 minutes of me talking about this stuff. But yeah, let me know what your guys' opinion on some of these heroes are, because honestly, dude, that's just my opinions. I just, you know, I'm sure I'm gonna get a lot of heat in the comments about like all these heroes, be like, oh, how's Iron Fist S or blah blah. Like that's just normal. It's controversial. It's all opinion based. And yeah, I'm still kidding Mantis A. I don't care. y'all can't fight me on this one. Y'all can fight me on this one, man. But her projectiles suck. She's so good, but her projectiles suck. Just flat out her projectiles suck. Like you have to aim above their heads, man. It feels wonky. But yeah. This is all for season 0, by the way. This is not season 1. It's not season 2. So things are prior to change. This is a late tier list. This is just my personal tier list because I just want to make one because I need an easier video, and this was the easiest video I can think of. And yeah, hope you guys are doing good. Hope you all doing great. And catch you guys around. Peace out, guys. Love you all. And make sure to have fun in the end. Bye.